if you've seen people on TV that in some way, like the flock was a representation of Raven and Paige, more so you said a couple people, Paige forcing or inserting people into the flock for Raven because those were part of his group of just people, of talents that he had access to, almost like I was the lackey for Raven. Those people were essentially Paige's lackeys or Paige's people that they would do things for him or do whatever favors, you know what I mean? Basically, hey, can you do me a favor and do this? Pick this person up from the airport, get me a taco at 2 a.m. That was Billy Kidman told me that one time. He needed to get him a taco at 2 a.m. That's Kidman telling me that. So I don't know if it's true or not, but I did see certain elements of that group of guys. They were underneath Paige in a way. The birthday club, there's also the Christmas club, which I'm not familiar with because Paige loves Christmas. The birthday club, Raven smarted me up to, and then I didn't believe him. And I asked a couple of those people, and they said, yeah, it's a real thing. Basically, Paige had gotten these guys jobs or opportunities, and to pay him back, they needed to buy him something for his birthday. Now, there had to be a minimum value to the gift. I don't know what the minimum value was. Some people said it was $1,000. Some people said it was $2,000, and you needed to buy him that as a thank you for that. In other words, you were being told you were not initiating the gesture of gratitude. You were being ordered to have gratitude and pay the toll to that. These were other people telling me this. Now, Raven told me when I first got there and got the deal that he was starting his birthday club, which included me. And yeah, of course. So he said, you need to buy me this TV. And it was one of those projection, I think a DLP TV with the disc or a bigger TV that was valued probably just under $2,000. Because back then, like TVs are cheap today, but back then TVs were very, very expensive. And he wanted that. And, you know, that was just the rule. Them's the rules. You know, I just, you know, what do I do? And that was the start of you're going to get fired if you don't do this. I'm going to tell Paige, tell Bischoff. The Clash of the Champions was the culmination of that. But Raven had ordered me to be a part of the birthday club and buy him a TV.
And did you?
Yeah.
Was it his birthday?
Well, yeah, around that time, because I was still in WCW at the time. His birthday is September 8th. So everybody out there, you want to be part of his birthday club, you know when to buy it for him. But that's, to me, that it's 2025. It sounds ridiculous. But back then, and even when Raven was a guy that was under the tutelage of the Grappler in Oregon. And Grappler made Raven or Scotty at the time do everything. So in ECW, I exchanged being basically go get me food, do this, do that. And I was getting knowledge and learning how to work and psychology. It was not like the exception to the rule back then that you had a mentor that, you know, basically like Harley Race would always make Vader drive or this other guy drive while he, you know, had beers and stuff. There were certain pecking orders where you had to drive, you had to do certain things, you had to get the cooler of beer ready, right? You had to carry bags. Hunter had to carry bags for the Clique. Hunter drove for them. So this is not an exclusive thing. Now the birthday club, not quite sure about that. That could have been like something that was just made up in that little like bubble of Paige and Raven.
Who else was in the birthday club of Paige and Raven?
I would assume Canyon. I would assume Hammer, Kidman, the taco at 2 a.m. Who else was in there? With Sick Boy, I guess. See, at this point, I wasn't having discussions with anybody really because everybody kind of was on their own island trying to figure out where they were. We knew that, or at least I knew I wasn't going to be in the flock much longer or WCW much longer anyway. Raven's quote, I've outlived my usefulness. So he was full of compliments and encouragement at this point. So, but you know, it's what it is. I mean, I told you before, I would not be talking the way I talk about these things. I would not be doing the smart boards. I would not have the level of knowledge, nuance, detail, and be able to present like this without Scotty teaching me what he taught me. So to me, the exchange is well worth it. And if he wanted the TV and somebody says you're an idiot for buying them, I made that money multiple times over back just from this show. So I'm just waiting for him to text me saying I owe him money because I'm making money on the show. Therefore, he gets a piece. Yeah, just like Jarrett with the shirt. We're still going to test that theory, by the way. Aha.
Aha. You've mentioned a couple of times, by the way, that Diamond Dallas Page was good friends with Eric Bischoff, and you mentioned twice in a row now in two consecutive weeks that Raven threatened to fire you by going to Diamond Dallas Page to then tell Eric Bischoff. Just how close was Diamond Dallas Page to Eric Bischoff?
As far as I know, they were best friends. Like you said, they were neighbors. This was pointed out to me. This was told to me by Paige, to move to Atlanta. We're all one big family. As a matter of fact, Paige lives right next door to Eric, and everybody's one big family. But even back then, as naive as I was, and anybody in corporate America knows this, how much does your heart sink and do you get nauseous when the company says, we're like a family, and you're like, oh man, I'm ready to get F now, right? So that even back then I was like, and the pressure to move to Atlanta and be at the beck and call of these people, I was smart enough to know I'm not interested in any of that. And by the way, that probably like accelerated my exit as well from WCW on both ends.
Did you ever go to Dallas Page's house for one of his birthday parties? Was it like, because I mentioned this beforehand, or I think I might put it in the notes, was it like Triple H's bachelor party? You had to go. It was voluntary, but you had to be there.
It's voluntary, right? That kind of voluntary, like the Iraq trip. Mm-hmm. Rob, you're still my hero for that. Oh man, one of my favorite stories. But no, I wasn't even invited, so I wasn't even good enough for the mandatory invite. But I didn't live in Atlanta anyway. If I had lived there, I probably would have been told you have to go there. And I have been to Christmas parties when I worked at DDP Yoga. I'm not a. This is going to sound so weird because I'm afraid to fly too, and I hate to travel. So I picked the perfect job. I do not like being around crowds of people. I do not. I have that social anxiety like anybody else. I like doing what we do here. And even if I was invited, I would not go, which probably would have accelerated my exit even more. Or I probably saved myself $2,000 because I'd probably have to show up with a present, right?
It'd be a heavy one.
I just love the fact, get me a birthday present, but the minimum value needs to be this. Like, how gracious.
Yeah, if you could bring the receipt with you as well.
Well, actually, Paige, smartly enough, at Waffle Houses would say, I want 10 egg whites. Bring out the shells. To prove that it's 10 egg whites.
Uh-huh. I see what you mean.
I don't necessarily disagree, but I don't want to piss the cooks off either. Anybody who cooks your food, man, I try to be extra nice to them and not give any orders.
You know, The Rock did that. He actually went into the kitchens at Waffle Houses and made his own omelets.
Was he The Rock during this time?
He was the egg. He was the egg.
No. I mean, was he Rocky Maivia or The Rock?
I think he might have started it as Rocky Maivia. Would you believe?
But as The Rock, it would be, this is so cool. The Rock is making eggs and waffles. But who the hell is this stupid Rocky Maivia? That might have been what turned him heel. The Waffle House crowd went to the shows and started booing him.